If you bought a pickup truck in 1972, you knew exactly what you were getting. You were getting a tractor with a license plate. It smelled like unburned gas and a wet dog. The seat was a flat bench that broke your back after 50 miles. And the ride? If you ran over a quarter, you could tell if it was heads or tails. Ford versus Chevy trucks. Ford was king with their twin I-beam suspension. They were comfortable, maybe a little too comfortable. And then, the 1973 Chevy C10 changed everything. General Motors dropped a nuclear bomb with the square-body Chevy. For the first time in classic truck history, a pickup wasn't just for hauling manure, it was for driving. And under the hood, the legendary Chevy 350 small block that wouldn't quit. To understand why the 1973 Chevy C10 destroyed reputations, you have to look at the data. Before 1973, trucks were designed with a ruler, flat nose, flat sides, flat glass. They punched a hole in the air like a brick. Chevy did something crazy. They put a square-body Chevy in a wind tunnel, and what they discovered changed everything. By curving the side glass, rounding the corners of the fenders, and tucking the drip rails, they could drastically reduce wind noise and increase fuel economy. They called it the rounded line, even though today, we all call them square bodies. Look at the difference. The Ford F-100 looks like it was built by a blacksmith. The 1973 Chevy C10 looks like it was built by an engineer. But the real war wasn't about looks, it was about the ride. If you're watching this, you probably remember the Ford twin I-beam suspension. Ford marketed it as tough, and it was. You could jump a Ford off a cliff, and the suspension would survive. But on the highway, it wandered. It ate front tires like they were candy. And when the bushings wore out, the wheels would camber in, like a tired old dog. Chevy said, "No." They refined their independent front suspension. They moved the rear shocks to the outside of the frame rails. To stop the truck from leaning in corners, they lengthened the wheelbase. The result? The 1973 C10 didn't drive like a truck. It drove like a big, heavy Impala. For the older guys listening, you remember the first time you sat in one. You hit a pothole, and nothing. No spine-shattering jolt, just a thump-thump. And you kept going. That was the moment Ford lost the war for the daily driver. That was the moment Ford versus Chevy trucks became a real fight. And Ford was suddenly on the defensive. But the real insult to Ford was the inside. Open the door of a 73 C10. What's the first thing you see? The wraparound dash. Before this, truck dashboards were flat metal sheets with a speedometer screwed into them. But in the 1973 Chevy C10, the controls curved around you. The radio, the heater controls, the wipers, they were angled toward the driver. It made you feel like a pilot. They moved the gas tank to move the seat back. Suddenly, a guy who was 6'2" could stretch his legs. They added molded door panels with armrests that didn't feel like concrete. And if you ordered the Cheyenne Super Trim, you got wood grain accents. You got soft vinyl that didn't crack in the first summer. You got a bench seat you could actually sit on for more than an hour without your back screaming. They introduced the crew cab dually to the consumer market, and that was a big deal. Before 73, if you wanted a 4-door truck, you usually had to build it yourself or order a commercial chassis. Chevy made it a factory option, and in doing so, they sent a clear message to the American farmer and working man: you work hard and you deserve to be comfortable. Sales exploded. In 1973, Chevy production numbers climbed so fast they made Ford executives sweat. The square-body Chevy wasn't just a work truck anymore. It became the second car, the vacation vehicle, the truck you could load up with your family and drive to church on Sunday morning, without feeling worn out before you even got there. That's why the classic truck restoration community loves these machines so much. They weren't just tough, they were livable. You could daily drive a C10 and not feel like the truck was punishing you for it. Chevy had figured out something Ford hadn't yet. Comfort creates loyalty. Ford scrambled. They knew they had to respond, but by the time they did, Chevy had already won the hearts of a generation. But there was a catch. There's always a catch. To create that extra legroom in the cab, Chevy had to move the gas tank. In older trucks, the tank sat right behind the seat. You were literally riding on 20 gallons of gasoline. Chevy looked at that and said, "That's dangerous." So they moved the tanks. They relocated them to what became known as the side saddle position. Long rectangular tanks mounted outside the frame rails, tucked just under the bedsides. On paper, it made sense. More capacity, better range. You could even run dual tanks for serious driving distance. But in the real world, it created a problem. If a Chevy C10 got T-boned in an intersection, right at the bed, there was no frame rail to protect the tank, just thin sheet metal. And then, boom. This became the biggest black eye in GM history. It led to lawsuits. It led to the infamous Dateline NBC scandal, where they allegedly rigged a truck to ensure it exploded. But the danger was real enough to trigger federal investigations and force major design changes. These are the C10 problems that haunt collectors today. When you're restoring a square body, this is the conversation you have to have. Do you keep it original, or do you relocate the tank? But there was another enemy, one that was slower, but just as deadly: rust. The steel used in the 1973 and 1974 models, something was wrong. Maybe it was the recycled metal content. Maybe it was a rust-proofing process that simply failed. Whatever the cause, these trucks didn't age, they dissolved. We used to joke that you could hear a 73 Chevy rusting on a quiet night. The cab corners, the rocker panels, the drip rails. By 1976, trucks that were only 3 years old looked like they had been pulled from the bottom of the ocean. This is the data point that breaks the heart of every classic truck restoration enthusiast today. Finding a clean 1973 cab is like finding a unicorn. So why do we love them? If they rusted and they had dangerous gas tanks, why is the square body Chevy the hottest collector truck on the planet right now? Because of the heart. The 1973 Chevy C10 came with the golden era of the small block Chevy, the 350 small block V8. It wasn't fast by modern standards. It made maybe 155 to 175 horsepower thanks to the new smog laws. But the torque? The reliability? You could neglect a Chevy 350 small block for a decade. You could run it on bad gas. You could overheat it, and it would still start. This is the story the old-timers love. The engine that wouldn't quit. While Ford was struggling with complex emissions plumbing on their V8 engines, the Chevy 350 remained simple. A carburetor, a distributor, and 8 cylinders. You could fix it with a 9/16" wrench and a flathead screwdriver. And the parts interchangeability was legendary. You could take a water pump from a 1969 Impala and bolt it onto a 1978 truck. You could swap cylinder heads from a Corvette. You could build a 350 small block in your garage on a Saturday afternoon with parts from 3 different decades. This is why truck restoration projects always come back to the square body. The engine is bulletproof. The turbo 350 transmission behind it, same story. 3 speeds, hydraulic, nearly indestructible. When you're looking at the best classic truck for a restoration project, this is the math. Cheap parts, simple mechanics, and a platform that's still usable on modern roads. You can't say that about a lot of classic trucks. A 50s Ford F100, beautiful, but good luck finding parts. A Dodge D100, rare as hen's teeth. But a square body Chevy? There are still hundreds of thousands of them out there. Rotting in fields, yes, but alive, waiting. The Chevy 350 small block is the reason these trucks survived when so many others didn't. Did the 1973 Chevy C10 destroy Ford's reputation? In a way, yes. It destroyed the reputation that Ford could be lazy. Before 1973, Ford was coasting. The twin I-beam was their answer to everything. It's tough. It's proven. Why change it? The 1973 Chevy C10 was a wake-up call. It was so advanced, so comfortable, and so popular that it forced Ford to rush the F-150 into production in 1975 just to compete. Think about that. The F-150, the best-selling vehicle in America for decades, only exists because Chevy scared Ford into action. Ford versus Chevy trucks wasn't a debate anymore, it was a war. And Chevy fired the first shot that actually hurt. But the square-body Chevy did something even bigger. It invented the modern truck market. Before 1973, trucks were work vehicles. After 1973, they became lifestyle vehicles. The Suburban became the family hauler that birthed the modern SUV craze. The C10 became the weekend warrior, the camper tower, the boat puller. Chevy forced the entire industry to treat the truck driver like a human being, not a farm implement. Today, if you're into classic truck restoration, the square body is the holy grail. Its value has tripled over the last 10 years. A clean 1973 C10 with the Chevy 350 small block and original paint, you're looking at $30,000 to $50,000, maybe even more. And honestly, that's a bargain compared to a new $80,000 plastic truck with a subscription service for heated seats. The square body Chevy represents something we've lost: simplicity, honesty. A truck you can fix yourself, a truck that doesn't need a computer to tell you what's wrong. If you see a 1973 Chevy C10 on the road today, don't just admire the paint. Look at the scars, look at the rocker panels, probably replaced twice. Listen to the starter motor. Vroom. That isn't just an old truck, that is a survivor of the Rust Belt, a veteran of the gas wars. It's the truck that changed the world. And honestly, I'd take this square body over a new $80,000 plastic truck any day of the week. What about you? Are you a Ford twin I-beam loyalist, or does the square body Chevy hold the crown? Maybe you remember when these trucks were just trucks, before they became collectibles, before they became investments. Back when they were just the vehicle in your driveway, with 200,000 miles on the clock and a bed full of firewood. Or maybe you're in the middle of a classic truck restoration right now. You've got a 73 C10 in your garage, the 350 small block torn apart on the bench. You're chasing down rust. You're hunting for original trim pieces. Let me know in the comments below. Tell me, what was the first truck you ever learned to drive on? Was it a Chevy, a Ford, or a Dodge that tried to kill you? And if you're thinking about starting a truck restoration project, tell me, would you go for the best classic truck, the square body, or are you brave enough to go a different route? I'll see you in the next one. Keep 'em running.